Alright, so now here's the nutcracker in its finished form. A lot of this is actually just the icing on the cake, if you know what I mean. Because this is actually the candy. This is going to be a confectionery a little bit for a wedding. And so what we were planning on doing is we wanted to make this nutcracker actually look very goodie-ish. Like a candy man. And so I wanted to actually let her talk a little bit about it because she did a lot of the painting on this.
I did the painting, and we didn't want it to look like Christmas, because if you did a lot of the reds and the greens and stuff, it would look like a Christmas soldier. And we wanted it to look like the confectionery, like a candy store. And so I got online and got some ideas, and basically this was kind of similar to something online, but not exactly at all. It's a lot different, really. But we've got the ice cream on top. It looks like an ice cream sundae. This looks like a cake box right here. Okay. And then his eyes look like candy as well. Candy cane. I don't know if the sucker. I don't know if you can see that. And then this is supposed to look like marshmallow and stuff, and frosting on his arms here, and candies on top of his shoulders.
This right here was actually part of the wood, and so we wanted to use the natural part of this wood to just kind of make it more effective, like we did on purpose. When he lathed this, he actually had a knot right there, and we were like, oh great, a knot, that's going to ruin the thing, you know, that's going to ruin our piece. What we actually did is we turned it so it would be perfectly in the center, and then we painted it as a peppermint. And so we used the actual knot itself because it actually is poking out a little bit to make the candy man even more cool. Now, one of the things that we did also on this is we bought fur. This fur is actually very expensive. Well, if you're taking, buying a bolt for it, if you're making a werewolf or something like that, like in the past weekend. But anyways, but this itself looks very much
like the real
thing, because if you
the real nutcrackers.
Yeah, if you see the real nutcrackers, they have little teeny fur. So we used fur on that, and that looks really good. And another thing is I wanted to show a simple way that we attach this arm. Right here, if you can see this, we just made a piece of metal. We took a piece of metal, and I found that you can actually make these fairly simple, or simple at least for me. You take just a thin piece of metal, and you can take like a bolt or something in a vise, but you leave the end out, the big knobby part, so it doesn't hinder this, and you actually hammer onto the bolt, and it'll bend the metal around like that in the vise itself. Here's the vise, and here's the bolt, and you hammer it on the metal, and it does that.
Okay.
So that makes the round shape. And then with it still in there, once the bolt is pretty much flat, you kind of have to take a piece of metal and hit it with the hammer into it, so it keeps on bending the metal around it. But anyways, then you take these ends and bend them back with the hammer and flatten them out. Then you have that shape, and then you just drill some holes in it, and you can attach a lot of different things to things.
And this guy does work, actually.
Yeah, here, we can move him out. This guy's made out of solid wood, so he's kind of heavy. But he works, and he can crack coconut. Yeah!